Carcass, you gotta post an unscripted garbage video. It's been like 5 years. Today, we're gonna be talking about, 10, I think I'm gonna do 10, I don't know, I might sneak in an extra, extinct animals that I bet you've never heard about, because, unlike me, you're not cool. You do not know anything about paleontology. You are nothing to me. I hope you die. But first, today's video is sponsored by... I'm just kidding. I lied to you. I lied to all of you. There's no sponsor. Okay, here's how it's gonna work. If you know one or less, then, you know, you're probably just the average person. You probably don't know that much about dinosaurs. You may just watch a few dinosaur movies here and there and like, oh, that's pretty cool. If you know 3 or more, you're a little bit above average probably with dinosaur knowledge. If you know 5 or more, now you're kind of getting somewhere. You're kind of climbing the ranks a little bit. If you know 8 or more, you're probably hyper-fixated on dinosaurs. And if you know 10 or more, you're probably like me and you have autism and your special interest is paleontology. And you know what? That's pretty cool. I like you. Starting off the list with an early pterosaur called Dimorphodon. Dimorphodon lived during the early Jurassic period. Its diet would have consisted of insects and potentially small lizards. Being an earlier pterosaur, it wouldn't have been much larger than, well, your cat. As of 2016, the most complete fossils we have of Dimorphodon are very memorable names such as BMNH 41212, BMNH R1034, and BMNH R1035. Next up, I highly doubt you'll know this one, aaaand. The reason I doubt that you know this one is because it constantly gets overshadowed by the closely related Hatzegopteryx and Quetzalcoatlus. Oh, aaaand, you poor underrated pterosaur. aaaand is my personal favorite pterosaur. They are unbelievably cool. aaaand was originally going to be named Titanopteryx, but I kid you not, the reason it wasn't named that was because the name was already taken by a species of fly. Can you believe that? A species of fly! aaaand is known from very spotty fossil evidence, so estimating its exact size is very difficult. This being said, some of the larger estimates suggest that it could have been larger than Quetzalcoatlus, thus making it the largest pterosaur, and the largest animal to ever fly. Please, though, take this with a grain of salt, because estimating the size of something with this little fossil evidence is very difficult. Speaking of that fossil evidence, as of 2024, there has been only 2 specimens found, the most notable of which being just vertebrae and a wing bone. Maybe a little bit of a leg, though. Round of applause for the fossil record, everyone. Woohoo! aaaand lived during the late Cretaceous and likely had a diet consisting of young dinosaurs, mammals, lizards, shit like that. It's possible they also waded in shallow water for fish, similar to like a stork. Okay, number 3. Promise it's not a pterosaur this time. Amargasaurus. A sauropod from the early Cretaceous. Although Amargasaurus was smaller compared to its peers, it made up for this with this very unique structure that went across its neck to its back. There is much debate on whether this structure was spikes or a sail. Future Jaden from 1 year later jumping in to say that recent studies have shown that it was likely a sail. Amargasaurus currently is known from only 1 fossil. However, this fossil is very complete. This fossil consists of a partial skull, left fore and aft limb, left ilium, right shoulder, all cervical, dorsal, sacral, and some caudal vertebrae. This makes it one of the most complete sauropod fossils we have of this time period. Amargasaurus weighed an estimated 5,700 lbs and was about yay big. Also, it was found in what is modern-day Argentina. Next up, we have the criminally underrated Heterodontosaurus. They're just, look at them. Just look at them. Please. They're like little dogs. I love them. Heterodontosaurus were early ornithischian dinosaurs. They also had cool teeth. And they ate plants. Woohoo! Heterodontosaurus, we love you! Okay, this next one, you're gonna love him. Chimaerosuchus. They're so silly. Chimaerosuchus were early Cretaceous crocodilomorphs. And these guys were weird as fuck. Not only were they crocodilomorphs and lived on land, but they also ate plants. And had kind of funky looking teeth. So like, imagine a crocodile. Now make it adapted to just specifically living on land. Now make it small. Now squish its face a little. Now give it big old eyes. And, just for shits and giggles, make it eat plants. Unfortunately, Chimaerosuchus were not blessed by the fossil record as much as some other dinosaurs and extinct things were. However, what we do have is one single specimen of them, and it's this. Their fossils were found in what is modern-day China, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot known about these guys. But hopefully soon, we will uncover more fossils and learn more about them. Woo! 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 Alright, for number 6, we have Alioramus. If you know of this dinosaur, there is a 80% chance that your first time hearing about it was from the game Path of Titans. But I bet you didn't know that they are Tyrannosaurids, making them related to Tyrannosaurus Rex. They've been quite the puzzle for paleontologists for basically as long as we've known of their existence. But, despite this, they are still very cool dinosaurs, and I think that they deserve way more recognition than they get. Smaller than most of their Tyrannosaurid cousins, they were actually much more slim and probably built more for speed compared to most Tyrannosaurids, which are more built for power. The reason they likely evolved to be this way is to be more specialized to hunting smaller prey. They would have coexisted with the more well-known and much larger Tyrannosaurid Tarbosaurus, and to avoid competition, adapted to instead hunt smaller prey rather than the large prey the Tarbosaurus was going after. Alioramini had one other member that we know of so far, which is... oh dear. I'm gonna butcher this. Kianzosaurus. Please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. I was debating whether I should talk about Kianzosaurus or Alioramus for this section, but I decided to go with Alioramus because 1, I know more about it, and 2, it's easier to pronounce. Number 7. Okay. This might be cheating since it's paleobotany, but it's cool nonetheless, and it definitely deserves to be talked about. Prototaxides. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if that's considered paleobotany since that's actually a fungus, not a plant, but I don't know, I'm gonna call it paleobotany for now. Prototaxides is a very tall, extinct fungus that lived from the late Silurian to the late Devonian period. They lived on land and would have taken on a niche similar to that of trees. However, at this point in time, trees did not exist yet. At this point in time, land-dwelling organisms of any kind were very rare. Vertebrates hadn't ventured out of the sea yet, and plant life up there was minimal, to say the least. This made it easily the largest land organism at the time. Alright, moving on. I hope you like worms. I sure do. Worms, wonderful worms. Worms are old. Worms have existed for a really long time. Worms, I like worms. Alright, when I say worms are old, I mean old. I'm sure you know about the Cambrian explosion. That's when animals started really diversifying into all sorts of weird body plans like Anomalocaris and trilobites, to name some more popular examples. But worms have existed for even longer than that. They existed before before the Cambrian explosion. They were cool before it was cool to be cool. Unfortunately, worms are soft-bodied animals, meaning fossilization isn't too easy or common for them. So, most evidence we have of worms in the fossil record are from, like, trails from them moving around. Anyways, before I get off topic, Ylingia.
Huh?
I know, it's a stupid name. Ylingia existed 10 million years before the Cambrian explosion, and they looked like this. So, there's not really much to say about these guys. I already said most of what needs to be said. They're just kind of worms that existed before the Cambrian explosion, which is pretty cool, but overall, worms don't really do anything that interesting. I'm not saying that they can't do things that are interesting. I'm just saying that, especially with the evidence that we have of them, it's hard to say what they could have lived like and what they could have done. Okay, number 9, and I know, we're nearing the end of the video, and you're like, oh, but Carcass, I love hearing you stumble over your words because you get too excited about paleontology and talk too fast and shut up, I'm tired. Number 9, Micropachycephalosaurus. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. I bet I can. Micropachycephalosaurus, 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 Micropachycephalosaurus. Fuck you! I hate you! Anyways, I'm sure you've all heard of Pachycephalosaurus, usually just shortened to Pachy or Patchy, because they're popular. They're popular, they're well-known, they're well-loved, they got the big old weird fucking heads that they hit each other with. Pretty cool. But Micropachycephalosaurus is a completely different critter. That's right, they aren't related to Pachycephalosaurus. Well, kind of. Both genera belong to Marginocephalia, which includes Ceratopsia and Pachycephalosauridae. But Micropachycephalosaurus are not Pachycephalosaurids.
Huh?
I know, confusing. Micropachycephalosaurus, despite being one of the smallest dinosaurs we currently know of, has the longest name of any dinosaur on record so far, which is kind of crazy and ironic. Also, just to note, Micropachycephalosaurus' full name, like genus and species, is, drumroll please, Micropachycephalosaurus hongtuyenensis. I might have pronounced the species name wrong, so I apologize. They lived during the late Cretaceous in what is now modern-day China. Alright, congratulations making it this far in the video, and a special congratulations to you if, so far, you've known all of what I've mentioned. That's impressive. So now, the final 10th one. Are you ready for this? Okay, I had so much trouble deciding between Sinosauropteryx and Purgatorius, but I ended up going with Purgatorius because I haven't done a mammal for the entire video, so, you know. Purgatorius is believed to be one of the earliest forms of proto-primate, which is shocking because, I mean, it looks like a squirrel, and it's crazy to think that that could somehow be related to, you know, monkeys and shit, but that's evolution for you. Despite the very fragmentary, mostly teeth, remains of Purgatorius, we have a pretty general understanding of how it could have lived. For one, based on an ankle bone we have of Purgatorius, it's actually believed that it was, in fact, arboreal like modern-day primates. Purgatorius first showed up in the fossil record during the late Cretaceous, and lived in what is now, as the name suggests, Purgatory Hill in Montana. Its fossilized teeth suggest that it would have had a diet consisting of fruits and various types of insects. Now, before I wrap up today's video, I just want to say, ooh, future Carcass jump scare. If you like any of the paleoart you saw in this video, be sure to go check out the original artists. All the artists have been credited, except for the ones that I couldn't find the credit for, but I did my best to find all the ones that I could. And that's pretty much it, so kill yourself, you stupid whore!
Downtown, lights will be shining on me like a new diamond.